now, it is time for We Family Radio's Christian Artist Spotlight with Lena King.
This is Lena King with We Family Radio, and today I'm doing the Artist Spotlight. Now, normally we do interview musical artists, but I wanted to interview someone a little different today. His name is Gary Scott, and he is the creative and anointed mind behind the new play, Lord, Please Help an N-Word Out. And you guys can guess what the N-word stands for, but don't let the title throw you off. We're going to let him tell us a little bit about this play. Gary, tell us a little bit about your new play.
Well, the play is called Lord, Can You Help an N-Word Out? Obviously, it's a very controversial title, but this is a powerful and anointed play that would change and deliver a lot of people. The premise behind the play is that the African American community needs a name change. And if you look in the Bible, whenever God got ready to do a great move with a nation or with a people, he usually changed the name. And we've been holding on to that name, the N-word, for too long right now, and it's time for us to let it go.
That's awesome. Admittedly, being an African American and being in the African American community, we do use the word a lot and easily, even just in general conversation. And I think if we change the way we see ourselves, it may change the way others see us, even though we can't control that. It always starts with us, most definitely. What in your personal life did you bring to this play?
Well, what I brought to the play was my own self-identity, because I'm a fairly intelligent guy. I noticed that I still identified with that word. And you might say, well, I don't identify with that word. I would challenge you with that, because as an African American, if we're sitting in a public place and someone was to yell out the N-word, 90% of us would turn around. If we didn't turn around, we would react internally to it, because we still identify with that word. So I had to deal with my own issues before I started trying to, to anybody else or to help anybody else. I had to say, why do you still see yourself after all these years as this N-word? And it's because God showed me it was a stronghold, and it's an imagination. And the Bible tells me that I am to cast down imagination. So that is why this play is full frontal assault on the N-word, because it's time for a name change.
You're right. Before we began the interview, we were talking, and you said if someone drove by and yelled out horse or dog or cat, we wouldn't react to it because we don't identify with that. But if someone drove by and said the N-word, we'd be ready to fight, and that's the truth. Two people in your play, Tony Taft and Philip Burks, better known as Big Phil. I know them very well personally, and they actually told me a lot about your play. What are their roles in your play? Well,
Tony plays a conflicted young man who is trying to get a new identity, but he is being held captive by his peers, which a lot of young people are having happen to them. They're telling him he's not keeping it real, he's not keeping it 100%, he's not being 100% in, the N-word, he's not being 100%, he's not being loyal to that, and thereby it freezes him, paralyzes him, so he cannot move forward with his life. He's a very important character in the play, because he represents a lot of people who inside they want to be something else, but because of outside pressure, they're stuck in this mold that society has made for them. People don't like hearing what I'm saying, but in our community, we know it's true. We know that there is a lot of this going on, a lot of self-hate, a lot of putting each other down. And as I said again, it's time for us to really have an impact on our community. I think this is the root cause. Now, I don't think the government can fix this. I don't think outside influences can fix this. This is an internal problem.
Do you think that this play is going to change lives? Do you think when people see this play, they're going to want to look at themselves differently, look at other African Americans differently, be better citizens? what is your ultimate goal with this play?
My ultimate goal is freedom. That's it. I am not trying to influence anyone's ideas or to make them feel bad. The same way I don't want anyone to make me feel bad by their description or their idea of blackness or what a black man is. I just want to free everyone up, to let them know, make this the cleanest slate, and say let's embrace what Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King and Medgar Evans died for, which was not for us to have a stereotypical view of what an African American is supposed to be, but for us to have a clean white sheet or black sheet of paper. If you don't want a white sheet of paper, a black sheet of paper, and we'll use white crayons. But the bottom line is a clean slate. You understand what I'm saying? A clean slate where we can write on that. We can write the vision down and make it plain without having that vision, preempted by this other ideology, this other culture. We want people to be free.
Yeah, because the bottom line is it's not just black and white.
Yeah.
Before we began the interview, we were discussing how you have people that are not black so comfortable with that N-word. Filipino people and Spanish people and whoever, it's just used like it's part of the English language now.
And that's our fault. We've allowed that. Mm-hmm. We've allowed that by not speaking up. But one of the characters in the play, Johnny Boy, makes a statement. He said that it is sad how we stand around and watch the sisters get disrespected. We will go to a mall or we will go to a park and hear, all kind of derogatory remarks, and they're aimed at African American women. We're supposed to be the protectors of these women. So we wonder, in turn, we have a lot of bitterness in African American women, and we wonder why. Of course you're going to be bitter if your protector, your main protector, it shows apathy towards you and doesn't think you're worth speaking up for. I remember Michael Jackson came out with a song years ago, and I'm dating myself now, and in the song, he used the word kike, I think it was.
Yeah.
And the song was already in the stores, and it was pulled off the shelves.
Right, because he said, kick me, kike me. I remember that.
And then they pulled it off the shelves because they did not want their people, defamed like that. Yeah. So I think we've caused that. Another thing I want to bring up is the fact that the Filipinos, the whites, the Hispanics who use this term, the N-word, are role-playing. Okay, they're role-playing. It's the same way you had in the 70s where you had the hippies who would hang out and they would have the afros. They would have the afros and they would hang out. They'd be cool. What's up, man? What's up, my brother? And they would talk the slang, but it was a role that they were playing while they were in college, while they were going through their formative years. But when they decided, okay, it's time to do real life, they dropped that role and went on to become successful people. Our problem is we don't see this as a role. We see this as our true identity. So you can't drop something that's you. Wow. So that's why so many young people are fighting with you when you try to change them, because they're not changing their behavior, they're changing me.
Right.
This is who I am, and I'm not going to give up who I am.
But anyway, tell people where they can see the play.
They can see it. It's going to be at my brother, Pastor Garland Scott's church, the Embassy Fellowship. It's 221 East 8th Street in Jacksonville, Florida. The play will be March 9th at 7 p.m. I suggest that if you're going to go, that you buy a ticket, because we had a packed house the last time. I was shocked, look at God. That's what I said when I looked out in the audience, look at God, because there were people who told me that no one would come to this play, and especially not Christians. And the place was packed out. They were all the way to the back of the wall. And after they have seen the play and see the message, the strong message in it, I am positive that we're going to have an even greater showing of people to come out to it.
My world is far from the dreams of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reversed it, he made it seem truer. Sometimes it feels like a setup, so I'm sharp with maneuvers, but I know it runs deeper, I'm sharp with the tool. We fight for our rights, so they entrust us with high positions, hoping we forget the injustice. I can't just sit, hide, and be quiet about what I know really exists, cause we don't need another Sean Bell, Troy Davis, and Genesis.